Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got some done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there in age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to answer the question that is in the thumbnail. Why you're so broke, even though you work hard. And this is mainly for my millennials and my Gen Z. Those are going to be the people who are 13 to about 29, 30 years of age. And so I know that I have a lot of viewers that are above the right around 30 to about 45 years of age as well. And so this is going to really hit home for a lot of you. And even for a lot of the people in my life that are going through it as well, they ask me all the time, Festus, what is it? What is it that is so wrong? What is it that I'm not doing right? And why is it affecting me? Why am I still broke even though I work so hard? And the truth is that nobody is going to do what needs to be done for you. You're going to have to do it for yourself. So today I'm going to break down why it is that so many people are broke, and I'm going to give you step by step the external stuff that are affecting you, as well as the internal stuff that is affecting you. And so to first start off, we have to start off with the external, so that before I get into working on us, let's start with the external, the stuff that we may not be able to control right away, but with knowledge is power. You'll be able to control these things. And so the last time I talked about Dairy Queen, I talked about a business that was paying their employees less than what they deserved because they could get away with it, right? But if you knew your worth, if you knew everything that you were worth, you would demand more. I was making more than certain employees that had been there for 17 years. They were making $15, $16, $17 an hour. I was making $20 an hour plus 10 hours of overtime in 2021. But people who were managers training other people, they were making less. They weren't happy about it. They were stressed out beyond belief. But guess what? They had no choice because they did not know their worth. And when you don't know your financial worth, you will always be taken advantage of. When my best friend first moved to Ohio, the first thing I did was build his resume and apply for jobs. He had never been a manager a day in his life, but he ended up in a role as an assistant manager for a warehouse right off the bat. Didn't matter what the pay was. You know why? Because with that job, with that title, you are then able to apply for other assistant manager roles. You were in charge of someone or something, and because of that, that is going to open the floodgates of other opportunities for you if you're willing to take advantage of it. And so, again, you know, the first thing he said to me was, I didn't even know I qualified for this. That title made him feel so empowered. And you know what? It should, because it showed you that you are capable of so much more than what you give yourself credit for. Sometimes you need to get out of your comfort zone and start to apply for things that are outside of your comfort zone. Do you know that today, literally today, it's past 1 a.m. at night when I'm making this video for y'all, and y'all should hit the like button just for that. But it's past 1 a.m. as I'm making this video for y'all, and one of my co-workers at work sent me a link for a job that was 2 positions above my current pay grade, y'all. 2 positions above. But you know what I did? Just a few minutes ago, I applied. Some people may think, oh, you're not ready for that position. You're not ready for that role. Why would you even attempt to do that? What makes you so qualified? Well, I looked at the requirements, and I definitely hit these requirements, so why wouldn't I? Sure, you can tell me that somebody else has more experience, somebody else has been here longer, somebody else has all these accolades and all these other things. Sure, I've accepted a position that was 2 positions below it. Yeah, all those things are true. But that does not mean that I'm not qualified for the position and that I'm not capable of handling the day-to-day operations in which it all entails. And so because I know that I am someone who is capable, I applied anyway, because I know that through the strength of my relationships, through the strengths of my experience, through the strengths of my knowledge and understanding, I am more than qualified, and I can't wait to see what the outcome happens to be. And so I don't hold myself back. Businesses may try to hold you back, and when that does happen, you push through. You don't get angry, you don't get upset, you push through. And so with that being said, let's move on to other factors that may hinder somebody. Student loan debt, college debt, credit card debt. We all start off pretty tough, right? Not everybody gets to really understand and learn money at a young age. A lot of us didn't really have a need for money, didn't value money, didn't respect money. And so when we were getting that money, it was all about just spending it, getting it out of our hands as quickly as possible. I got $5. Let me go and buy some fries and a bacon, egg, and cheese from the Ock way. I'm from New York. That's what we did. We went and we got everything that we could to eat, share with our friends, because everybody wanted PCs. They wanted a piece. They wanted to eat with you. They wanted to share, and that was how we bonded. That's how we got together. That bacon, egg, and cheese tasted so good with that crispy pork bacon. I'm telling you, we needed that. And so over time, the value for money just evaporated, because when you spent it, you felt so good. And so when you see $10,000, $20,000, $100,000, you don't know what to do with it. All you know how to do is spend it. It gets out of your hands so quickly that that it just doesn't even make sense to you. Do you know what you would do with $100,000 today? Because the first thing that a lot of people think to do is spend, 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 spend. And mind you, the first thing you should do is build your savings account, have an emergency fund, and not stop. Don't get comfortable, because that leads into my next point. A lot of y'all get too comfortable. You see a little bit of money, you get comfortable. You see a little bit of money, you stop working as much. You see a little bit of money, you stop working hard. But your car will break down. Your credit card debt will be piling up. Your student loan debt will still be eating at you. You don't want to go back to school. And granted, you probably shouldn't, because you heard your entire life, go to school, go to school, go to school. But they didn't tell you what to study. They didn't tell you what to be. Oh, you know, doctors and lawyers make a lot of money, but you don't want to be that. And so you wasted a lot of your time trying to impress, trying to be the chosen one for everybody else but you. And then you realize, you know what, that wasn't for me in the first place. That wasn't for me in the first place. And some of y'all didn't even finish the full bout of the apple. You didn't even finish the full 4 years. And so now you're dealing with that regret. You don't even want to pay the student loans. You don't even want to go through that. You know why? Because you didn't go for the right reasons. You was only 17. You was only 18. You was only 19. And you had all this thrusted upon you with no guidance, no direction. All the friends that you call your so-called friends, they never talked to you about college. They didn't tell you what they were studying in school, and it wasn't their job to do so. But either way, you still feel some resentment. You still feel some regret. And rightfully so, because they called yourselves your friends, but they didn't tell you what that all entailed when you graduated, right? And so the external factors of life, where you have to seek out goodness for yourself. And then there's going to be detractors as well that try and pull you away from that say you're not good enough every step of the way. And you just have to smile, and you got to say, you know what? I am more than capable. And if you don't want to do that for me, somebody else will. And when somebody else does, then you realize, you know what? I was worth more. I am more valuable. I am more capable. And so when millennials and Gen Zs are hopping from job to job to job to job, especially during COVID, when we saw a rampant increase in that, guess what? It showed that they were valuing themselves more. It showed that they knew what they were worth. It showed that they wanted more for their lives. And that increase in salary, that increase in pay allowed a lot of millennials and Gen Zs to buy their first home during COVID, which I applaud. All right? So now when we talk about all these factors that hinder people, it's very simple. A lot of you guys are not even starting at zero. You're starting at a negative. Your net worth is negative, but you work hard. You go to work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week. You're bringing in all this paper. You're making $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month even. But where is it all going? It goes out the door as soon as it comes. You don't cook at home. You don't buy groceries. You just eat out every single day. And you say, you know what? It's easy. It's cheaper. I'm always on the go. I'm always so busy. I got to make some money. Listen, at the end of the day, if I spend $250 on groceries for the whole month and your breakfast is $5, $6, $7 a day, just your breakfast, not your lunch, not your dinner, you're going to be spending over $150 in a month just on breakfast. By the time you get to lunch and dinner, you're spending over $400, $500 a month. You're spending twice as much as I do on groceries. And I just had red snapper and a bacon ranch salad with a beef patty for dinner. And that probably cost me under $13 because the red snapper, which I don't have often, I got 2 for $26. The salad, I got at least one bag of salad is going to be at least 4 servings, and I got 3 bags of that for $11. So imagine 4 times 3, that's 12 servings that I could have with that $11. You do the math. How much did that salad cost me? So with that being said, the red snapper was the most expensive. You go to a store and you get some red snapper, that's $40. I just got mine for $13 because one is $13 essentially. And it was really nice. It was really big. And then my beef patty, I got 50 of those for $30, 50 of those. So again, you do the math. So when I say there are a lot of the times people just don't consider or calculate their lifestyle and their expenses. And there's some things that you should just do for your own enjoyment. I'm not telling you to be a hobbit, always cook at home and never eat out. No, I eat out a lot too. I go out on dates. I do a lot of these things. But it wasn't before I was financially secure and stable. No, it was only after. It was only after. And so when we work to the bone, but we don't have a budget. We don't really plan. We don't have a high yield savings account. We don't have an emergency fund. So every time you invest, you start pulling from your investments. Every time your car breaks down, every time your credit card get maxed out, every time you need something to get done, every time you need to pay for some food or a graduation, your investments get depleted. And then you do it all over again as if it worked the last time. It didn't. I'm telling you, it didn't. So when I ask you if you had $100,000, what would you do? And you don't have a savings, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense how you still haven't learned from that mistake. You're not that young anymore. You've had these experiences. You've done it over and over and over again, and you still failed to grasp that simple concept. If you don't have a savings, if you don't have an emergency fund, everything becomes an emergency. Your car breaking down becomes an emergency. Your credit card debt rising up becomes an emergency. Your student loans become an emergency. Your whole life becomes an emergency. Buying new shoes might even become an emergency. And I don't want that for you. So you have to understand that everything is an emergency when you don't have a savings. Everything is an emergency when you don't have an emergency fund. Everything is emergency. You do not invest before you have a savings. You do not invest before you have a savings. You do not invest before you get out of all bad debt outside of a mortgage. Because it's not going to lead to your financial security whatsoever if you got to pull that money out 2, 3, 4 months later because life happens, and it always does. You see, when life happens to me, it's nothing. I don't even consider it life at all. When somebody broke into one of my cars on the side of the street that I had been parked there for 6 months, it was nothing because it didn't have to be anything. I had a car functioning in my garage that I could just drive off to work or wherever else I wanted to go. It was nothing for me to really consider that. And I'm so grateful that I'm in that position to where it was nothing. And so I want that same thing for you. I want you to stop looking at problems as problems, and it's just simply an issue that I can get to at any point in time. because it's of no necessity to you, it's of no matter. But when it becomes the thing that you depend on, when it becomes the thing that you rely upon, it is just too much. It is too taxing, it is too stressful, and it puts you in a place where your back is against the world and you have to work so much harder. And when you have to work so much harder because you need that money right now, right now, right now, you start to feel like, wow, I work harder than everybody in this world for so little. But the truth is, you didn't respect the money. You never respected the money. And because you didn't respect the money did not respect you. And so you have to work harder for it because the money now doesn't respect you. So if you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for podcasters. And I can't wait to see you on the next one.